Hello everyone, my name is Nansae, and I'm going to be making a Stellaris tutorial to give you the basics so you can make your own empire and not get destroyed by the AI on your first playthrough. So, I'm going to create a new empire, and when you create a new empire, it starts you off in this kind of done screen, but what you want to do is go all the way up, and you can start with the appearance of your species. Mushroom guy, different mushroom guy. I don't know about that. Let's go with, I don't have one of these guys. Let's make a mushroom. Zikmak, Baratheon. Oh look, that's a name I can pronounce. And you can even write a little bio for them if you're into that stuff. But you don't have to. You can just hit next. And this part is naming conventions. Now, you can use, since this is a fungoid, you can use fungoid name sets, but I don't know, I don't personally recommend this. I like using the human name sets because when you get leaders, and you build ships, and you have ship class names, it's going to automatically generate all of these things, and it's really nice if you can pronounce them. And when you pick fungoid, you get leader names like Shabangil, and that one's not so bad, but like, I don't know, I guess these aren't that bad. Sarah Crombead? Kenny Klopalus? I don't know, I guess it's not that bad, but some of them can be kinda, let's see. Don't pick something that you can't pronounce unless you just want to, I guess. One of the things that's most important, really important, that I always forget, is you want a ship prefix. But if you don't know what your empire is called, it's kind of hard to know what your ship prefixes are. But we can come back to that, because I don't know what we're going to call ourselves. Oh, the racial traits. Okay, so your empire is going to have these things called pops. Pops are important because, you know, the people that your empire comprises. So, you get to pick some traits that help make your species either a little better at some things, maybe a little worse at others, or just a tiny bit better, but they're not worse at anything. And so trait points are things you can spend to get some of these good things, and trait picks are the total number of traits you can pick. Now there are bad traits that you can get that allow you to get more good traits or really expensive traits, like say deviance. Deviance increases ethics divergence, and you don't even know what that means yet, but it's a bad thing. You don't want that. Ethics divergence going up is bad, and I really don't think this is a good one you should ever have. You know, increases food output. Food is of course the thing that your people eat to survive. Thrifty increases the amount of electricity or energy credits, which is basically money. That's important. But then industrious and intelligent, natural engineers, natural physicists, and natural sociologists, these are all, well, that's minerals is related to minerals, but these are all related to research. There are 3 different kinds of research. Things like extremely adaptive make your species more able to colonize worlds that they're not from. If you notice, there's continental world right here. We can change that later, but there are lots of different planets you can start on. And when you colonize new planets, your people aren't gonna like colonizing a desert planet if they're from an ocean world. They really don't like that. So, getting traits like extremely adaptive are really strong because it can help you colonize planets that your species has no business colonizing. Rapid breeders is pretty good. It decreases growth time, so that means your species will spread faster, like they'll expand and go to new places faster. Okay, so this, of course, increases leaders' lifespan. This makes them die faster. This makes them require slaves or suffer a penalty. This makes other people not like you. I want like a research-focused race, so we're gonna go for intelligent. Okay, so I have intelligent picked. I could just go with that. I'm neutral. I can do this. Or I can take things like non-adaptive, slow breeders, slow learner, whatever, and then couple them with some things I want as well. I could, like, for example, I could say, oh, let's say I want natural engineers, and, oh, you can only have one. I didn't know that. Apparently if you pick one of these things, you can't have the other two. Oh. I didn't know that. Okay, well, change the plan. I want sociologists. I like sociology research the most, just because it's more... Well, I'll get to that later. We're gonna have to give something up if we're gonna do this. I think weak is a pretty good one, because times your armies are gonna be fighting other armies really depends on the kind of empire you have, and I'm not trying to be some militaristic, hegemonic dictator guy. I mean, does this guy look like he's gonna take over the galaxy? No, he just wants to research society. Great. Okay, let's go on. Choosing sex. That's a male and that's a female, if you didn't know. You can generate a random name. This will be the name of your first leader. Depending on your government types that we're about to get into, this could change. Your ruler might not be named president. They might be named first descendant or something. I don't think that's it. And you may or may not have an heir, depending on how authoritarian your government is. And some of the species, they have little color variations, like, I like blue. Oh, we could have a purple one. We got a pink one. Let's go with blue. Blue's cool. Oh, blue. Blue and blue. Next. Alright, here's Homeworld Selection. So you can pick from 7 different kinds of homeworlds. Now, this has no real impact on you, other than the screen's going to look a little bit different, and you're going to have the easiest time colonizing planets that are of this type, of course, and the ones nearest to it. So if you're from a tropical world, colonizing tropical worlds would be ideal, but you could colonize continental worlds and desert worlds pretty easily. And then you could colonize arid worlds and ocean worlds, not so great. And then you really want to stay away from tundra and Arctic if you're from a tropical planet. Let's go with tropical world. Tropical world's cool. Star name is Tarim Zal. So if you pick Sol System, that's the system we're in right now. And by we, I mean you as a human and me as a human in the real world. This is where we are. So you'll have, you know, Jupiter and Pluto and Mars and Earth, that kind of thing. Except for in this case, Earth will be called Zune. It'll be a tropical world, and this will be the dominant life form, a I want to change that name. Random is cool. Random will just give you a whole bunch of random names. Alright, this is probably one of the least important menus you will deal with, depending on how much you care. This just determines what your cities look like when you click on your planet. So, I mean, this is the default mammalian city. Fungoid cities would look like this. It'd be cool if you could change the color. But, you know, blue, green, could be blue. I mean, that's a reptilian city. Let's just go with fungoid, because, you know, fungoids form. Alright, now this might look a little overwhelming, and yes, it's complicated and weird, but it's really cool. It's a really fun part of the game. This is your government and ethics. The way the game works is you have to pick a government type, and your governments you can pick from are over here. You start out with an indirect democracy, plutocratic oligarchy, or a despotic empire. And the way this works is these are, on the left, are more individualistic in nature. They're democracies. The ones on the right are more authoritarian. They're monarchies, dictatorships. They're authoritarian governments on the right. And in the middle, they're oligarchies. So, plutocratic oligarchy. An elite few control this nation because they're rich. And this one, you got a dictator who just says what he wants and it becomes real. And this is indirect democracy. This is where people vote for people to make decisions for them. Nice. You think, well, how do I want? I mean, I don't want an indirect democracy. I want a direct democracy, or I want divine mandate, because that sounds awesome. Well, I'll tell you how we get it. I think I'm gonna go for a despotic hegemony, actually. And I'm not trying to be some militaristic, hegemonic dictator, just because I said we're researchers. Now these are your ethics. Ethics are the things that your government is built on. Why do your people make the choices they do? Well, because ethics. So the way this works is there are 4 different kind of spectrums you can be on, and they're across from each other. For example, this one here is xenophile versus xenophobe. Xeno. Anyway, so down here is xenophile. If you're xenophile, you take... it gives you things that make you more friendly. Basically, other empires are more likely to like you, your people are more likely to accept other aliens living alongside them, all that kind of thing. It gives you a positive modifier in diplomacy. People like people that like other people, right? And you can become fanatical, although that costs more ethics points. You can only have 3 ethics points distributed. And you can do like this, you could do that, you can do whatever. But what you can't do is, I can't be a fanatic xenophile, or even a regular xenophile, and be a xenophobe. Xenophobes gain bonuses from being at odds with other empires, and that's good for them, but it can be very tenuous and stressful if nobody likes you. We want to be sciencey. I mean, we made our species sciencey, so we would go for materialistic. Materialistic is... Well, actually, let's just explain what all of these mean first. So, this one is materialism versus spiritualism. Materialism makes your research go faster, whereas spiritualism makes your people better at growing, and it makes them less likely to diverge in ethics. The next one is, of course, militarism versus pacifism. A lot of people like this. I like pacifism. It's pretty cool. It makes people happy when you're not at war. This makes people happy when you are at war. This also makes people not trust you. Something you don't really want. Unless you want to go to war with people. You could be rival, like... Militarism and xenophobia go hand in hand. They're really great together if you want to be, like, out on your own. And then this horizontal one, which we haven't even talked about at all, is individualism versus collectivism. So, what are these bonuses? I don't even know. I don't ever pick these. Energy credits, but you can't have slaves. You can't have slaves. That's too bad. Fanatic collectivists totally love slavery, and they reduce food consumption. Well, that's nice. Energy credits is nice. Slavery and reduced food consumption? Wow. Collectivism. Yeah, let's pick a despotic hegemony. So, I'm going to go for fanatic materialist. Like, we're going heavy on the research. Okay? We're going to be the mushroom scientists of the galaxy. So now you notice that since I selected fanatic materialist, it opens up a new row. This is a materialistic government, and that's the vertical structure of why these are arranged in this way. So you could pick something that was like xenophobic and collectivistic, and you really, I mean, if you're collectivistic, you can't have a democracy. So this is kind of restricting, right? So you really have to, if you really want like a divine mandate, you can't be a materialist. You have to be a spiritualist. This will increase research speed, decrease research station build cost. This is a despotic hegemony, which means it is a authoritarian government. You're going to have a leader. They're not going to be elected. They're going to be selected by you, and then they're going to have a lineage of people who inherit the throne. And this one's based all around materialism, based on research. We're going to do things the right way. We're going to have the efficiency of an authoritarian government at our side. What are we going to do with this other one? We got one more point we can use. Pick pacifism, because we want people to be happy. We want people to trust us. We're scientists, we're authoritarians, but we want people to trust us. So we can pick pacifist. Okay? This totally looks like a pacifist emblem. Right. Now, we're gonna go Collective, Tarathian Star Empire, Dominion. Ooh, the Tarathian Dominion. That's cool. Let's go with that. And this is all randomly generated. I didn't have to come up with any of this stuff. It just did it on its own. That's cool. So now that we have a name for our empire, we can go. This is important. I always forget to do this. I'm not going to forget this time. Where is it? Name lists. Since we're called the Tarathian Dominion, we're going to have Tarathian Dominion ship. And you notice over here it's changed ship names. So, for example, if we have a ship called the Patharomene Row, it'll be TDS Patharomene Row. What do we? Oh, we're gonna change the name of our ruler. Let's pick Shabligum Yule, Mashgir Yule, Baglog. No, Hingorf Yule. Hingorf. Let's just go with Hingorf. That's cool. Yeah. The ruler title, Overlord. Change this. Air title, Deputy Overlord. Email? Oh. Sure. Oh. Yeah. I didn't know you could have it was like patriarchal or matriarchal. Well, now you know. Isn't that nice? Let's make it a matriarchy, because why not? Alright, now you can pick your flag. This isn't so important either. You can just... I'm gonna dominate people with science. A dragon? Or mushrooms. We don't like dragons. Yellow? Is yellow a color? No. Oh yeah, it kinda is. And yellow. Kinda puke colored. You can get mods. You can add more colors if you want. I'm just playing the base game because it's simpler. Red. Let's do militaristic. Let's be green. Because, you know. Oh, this. That. Oh, that's good. Let's do that. Alright. Not important. I mean, missile weapons are great to start. So, missile weapons are probably the best in some way in terms of like the damage they can deal. The problem with missile weapons is that they can be shot down. They're firing these massive warheads. They're also kind of slow. They have quite a bit of travel time. Whereas energy weapons and projectile weapons, they just bam, they go boom and then kill. The missile weapons, they go pew, boom, and they do more damage. But they can be shot down later in the game as empires get more advanced point defense, and they can shoot down the missiles before they get there, so they can totally negate your damage. But missiles are really strong early game because people don't have that kind of technology yet. That's a good thing. So missile weapons are a great one to start with. Energy weapons are okay. Projectile weapons are getting buffed next patch. We're currently on 1.2. So we really don't want projectiles. And projectiles are lame. It's just like, that's just guns. We have guns. I guess we have missiles too. But missiles are awesome. I don't know why they changed it. These used to be listed as nuclear missiles, which were the starting weapons. It's kind of funny. The weakest missiles in the game were nuclear missiles. FTL method. I mean, this game draws on lots of different sci-fi, so if you're into Star Wars or Star Trek or I don't know of any. I mean, Deep Space Nine? No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's how they do all their FTL. So this is like, how do your people get around? When your ships prepare for light speed or prepare for warp speed or whatever, how do they get around? Well, warp travel's great. It's the most utility. It's kind of the happy compromise between these two. And the reason for that is the way the warp drive works is your star is in a spot, and your ships are near the star. So what you can do is you can go to a bunch of star systems that are nearby within a certain range. You can go to any star within your warp drive's range. And if you want to go somewhere farther, you have to go to a closer star. So if you have like a star that's really far away, you're going to have to travel to a bunch of other stars in between along the way. You can't just jump from point A to point B. You've got to go to point A, point 1, A, point 2, and then just eventually get there. They're kind of slow. They have to recharge every time they make each jump to get closer to their destination. But all of these upgrade over time. You all get better. And so later on, the warp drive can travel farther and farther distances in one warp. It's decently fast, but it's not the fastest. Hyperspace travel is most definitely the fastest from point A to point B if point A and point B are close, especially if they're connected by hyperlanes. Hyperlanes are these little lines that connect all the star systems, make it look like a map, you know? Hyperspace lanes are the only areas that hyperspace drives can go. So, although they are faster than warp travel, they have to follow the lines, which means sometimes if there's two stars that are next to each other, but hyperlanes don't connect them, warp drives will get there. They can get there easily, but a hyperspace drive will have to connect all of the hyperspace lanes to get there. So they can be very finicky. They're just an alternative to warp travel. They're simple. They're not hard to use. Wormhole travel, advanced players, you probably shouldn't pick this your first time. Wormhole travel just means you set up wormhole generators, and they're kind of like warp travel in the sense that any ship in this star system where this wormhole is can jump a certain amount of distance, but it does it instantly. And it opens up the wormhole, goes that distance, and then it can come back to that wormhole. Problem with wormholes that make them a little bit more finicky and complicated is that you have to build the wormhole generators all throughout. But once you have them built, you can get from one to any other one really fast. Late game, wormholes are definitely the best. Early game, no, they're not great. So I like warp travel. Wormhole travel, I'd probably go with if I took the time and effort to use it, because I like that it's so strong late game. I like to play for the late game. Hyperspace is probably better to play for the early game. You can get out faster, but late game, your ships are gonna go, ducking and diving through each hyperspace lane to get from point A to point B. Alright, ship appearance. Again, not important, but fungoid, because we're fungoid. You don't have to, though. You can, if you want to be something different, you can be avian or something. We're just gonna go fungoid because, actually, no, we're gonna go avian. Cuz. Just are. Reptilian, they're blue. He's blue. She's blue. Ingorf is blue. That's also blue, isn't it? We're like scientists. Does this look like a science-y ship? This actually does, but I always play mammalian ships, so let's do avian. Alright, so now we're set up. This probably looks radically different than when we started. We're the Tarathian Dominion. And we used, there, it says nuclear missiles. We have warp travel, we have avian ships, our homeworld is a tropical world named Zune. We are pacifist, but fanatical materialists, and we're a despotic hegemony. Alright, we're fungoid. There we are, that's our species. They're intelligent and natural sociologists, but they're a bit on the weak side. They're a bit soft. They can't really take a punch. And that's it. That's all you need to make your own empire. Once you have it made, it's all good. You can start, you can hit save, you go done, and we can get into this later.